I'm going to push play so we can start recording. So ladies and gentlemen joining in, and we have a few still trickling in. This is Troy Callantine. He's one of our brokers, a part of the UAS, United Agent Services, that is part of our broker support. And broker support means that any broker questions that you have, we have a whole team of people to do it, okay? Not only Dave Weeks here is our principal broker locally, but also up north with Troy. We have Sean Janke. We have, what's the other guy's name? Just kidding.
Eric.
I'm having a hard time remembering. Eric Santa Stevens is also a broker up there that is really tackling broker support for our agents as a group. And so I want to take a minute and say, Troy, thanks for jumping on. I know you're on the mountain, probably not going to get a whole lot of engagement, but the reality is that this specific training is mandatory only because it's the market that we're in. Did I lose everybody? I think everything froze.
Troy did.
Okay, Troy did. Okay,
Yeah.
just not me. Okay,
No.
I'm going back to gallery. So I'm going to stop. There he is.
I think I only froze because I was looking up the escalation clause on broker support.
I got it up for you. Nailed it.
Please.
So, Troy, real quickly, I'm gonna talk to everybody about a little bit more about broker support and what the value of broker support is, how we can use it in our everyday business, and be supplementing that with our local broker who's virtual and also in St. George. And Troy's virtual. He just happens to be in Salt Lake, right? We're gonna have to live in this virtual world a little bit more and more. Nothing's changing. Everybody wants to say it's changing. The funny thing is that I prefer to have these Zooms because I can jump in and then jump out and continue on with my day. I don't have to stop what I'm doing and drive down to the office and have a conversation about something really important, which is the escalation clause. I can snip it out of my day and replace it with something else as soon as I'm done, and I don't have to disrupt all of the things of driving and getting there and finding a parking spot and clubbing together, and we have to talk to everybody and start this conversation. And then the 30-minute class turns into an hour and a half, right? We want to avoid those things. So I'm going to last rant on the videos. It's really hard to teach to a blank screen. It's really hard to engage and know if what you're saying is getting through to the people if I can't see your faces. If you were in the room with me, you wouldn't have a bag over your head. And so I feel like I have half the classroom with a bag over their head. So if you'll please turn on your videos and be able to giggle like Karen's giggling right now, and it makes me feel like something's getting through. There's something happening. Greg, thank you for doing that, man. So and obviously Brooke, I have some people that are like working at their other job and they're like, sorry, dude, I can't turn my video on. I'm doing something and listening to you, which is fine. And I just want, if at all possible, for my sake, if you could turn it on. Helen, good to see you. If for all possibilities, that would be great if you could turn it on. Okay. So we're going to go right into the escalation clause and how easy broker support is. So everybody hold on. I'm kind of taking this for Troy too, just because where he's at, but also knowing it's really an introduction to Troy. He's not the only expert on escalation clauses, but I want everybody to know who he is because he's an awesome broker and he's a valuable piece to your businesses if you can't get a hold of me or can't get a hold of Dave or can't get a hold of Brent or can't get a hold of the 55 other people we have to help you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, quote of 2021, and escalation clause. Can everybody see this? It says United Agent Services escalation clause.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So broker support, I have it saved right here in my top toolbar on the left-hand side, and it's an easy access, right? United-Agent Services. This is a URL I'll never remember, so I just bookmarked it, right? And I put it right up here up top. And if you click on broker support, Tara Martinez jumped in. If you click on broker support, it says search the knowledge base, and you'll see that we have 78 articles there, 71 here, 17 here, 68 here. Okay, this is a database of articles curated by your brokers at Keller Williams to answer all of the questions that you guys have on what are the rules around signage, what's the rules around addenda, what's the rules around this one thing, is there a better way for me to do this other than this, right? Majority of the time, and I know this because I called Dave very frequently when I was doing business, was I just need to bend your ear on this because I think I'm right. I just needed a quick answer to this question and it can be done. Sometimes they're not that long, right? Sometimes they're like, I need to like really have some thoughts around this. You can come here for a moment, find something to get value from, and then be able to take it to the broker, be like, hey, I saw this, is this right? Am I thinking about this right? And get that just clarity for you. But I want you to know that this is a great resource as just a fundamental thing. It's not something you have to use every time. It's a supplementary piece of the value for broker support. So I pull up broker support, and I'm just going to type in escalation clause. Okay, it's already there, but you type in escalation clause, and that was the first thing that popped. It's really the only article that pops up. That I didn't do anything fancy. I just said escalation clause, and this it gives you an exact sample of an escalation clause that's approved by the brokers. Okay, and it says this: if prior to the seller's acceptance of the terms in this purchase contract, the seller receives one or more additional written bona fide offers to purchase the property with terms acceptable to the seller, other offers, and from which seller would receive a higher net than the net reflected in this offer, then this contract's purchase price shall automatically increase by this amount of money above any other offers net to seller, not to exceed the maximum sale of X amount of dollars. Do you see how already you're like, whoops, I probably didn't do it that way. Anybody raise their hand unless they pulled this from here? Because mine did not do it that way. I did not do it that way, right? So it's important that from a legal perspective, all those words matter, right? So as a contract, the words you say matter, and they're going to close all the gaps potentially in what the words are that we're pretending to be attorneys, right? So if we're pretending to act as an attorney by writing addenda, then we're actually breaking the rules, right? And so we need to make sure that nobody's in the waiting room waiting for me as I continue this conversation, sorry. We need to make sure that we're doing it as properly as we can. So this is important because I see escalation clauses on almost every contract. Does everybody agree? Everybody shake their head?
Lots of them. Yeah.
Lots of them. Helen, are you doing any of these in Vegas? No? No? So this might be a tool for you in Vegas that you can get value in. Sorry, I had this open. So you guys can see the escalation clause still, right? I didn't mess that up. Okay, so this you could actually pull this right out of this and use this in your addendum. So what it's saying is that everybody's going to have multiple offers. I'm going to start at this price, but I'm willing to go above any competing offer by this amount up to a cap of X amount of dollars. Okay, so it basically gives you a blanket in one addenda, increase your own purchase price at $1,000 per jump up to a certain amount, right? Because what ends up happening is that you might actually have 9 offers, all 9 are the exact price. Does everybody see that? And so then the sellers see, well, I guess the only thing I can do is look at all the offers and go to time and terms, because those are the 3 elements of an offer, right? Price, time, and terms. So if price isn't solved and everybody's the same price, then they have to go to time and terms. But if it's always price first, it's always price first, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to pick something else over terms and time. But you can't do anything about that unless you have a call with the buyer agent or the selling agent ahead of time and saying, what is the best possible offer that I could put in for your clients? And see what they say. They don't have to tell you anything, and see what they say. But between the escalation clause and making sure time and terms are the best solution for the seller, do you think you're going to lose on very many of these offers? Anybody?
No, but
I think oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll wait.
I think for me anyway, I run up against just that we're already going to be at the top of their spending. You know what I mean? So we can do this. And if we don't get it, it's because they just tap out of what they can spend.
Right.
So if I can type in real quick, I think one thing to note about the escalation clause is it's not for everybody, right? And this particular escalation clause is good guidance, but it isn't so rigid that you couldn't possibly, modify it or change it to work better for your buyer or to accommodate a seller that has specific wishes. And just like you mentioned, right, your buyer may have a top end price that they can only go to. So, you got to keep that in mind. One of the complications I've come into as a broker is an escalation clause used without a maximum price. The escalation on their deal escalated like 35,000 over what they were even closely possible of, but they got accepted, and they had waived all their due diligence and their contingencies to make a strong offer, but they failed to forget to put a cap in on the escalation clause. So it put them in a real predicament where they had, got an accepted offer with non-refundable earnest money, but no protection because that cap went past what they could actually do. So we had a really upset seller on the other side, right? The other thing you could potentially run into is a seller who just doesn't want to deal with an escalation clause. So I represent REO properties when they exist. There's none right now, but I have several asset managers that won't entertain escalation clauses, period. So as a bank, they're just saying, nope, bring us your best. That's all we're going to deal with. We're not going to play this game. So it's worthy, like Robert mentioned, have the conversation with the listing agent to find out what's most appealing to that seller in order to get this deal done. Clearly price is going to be one of the biggest things, but time could be another. So there could be a way you could write into your escalation clause flexibility in your deadlines, in addition to the escalation clause, to most closely match what the seller needs or wants. So, we want to give the guidance in such a way that it keeps, covers what we see as the majority of the loopholes or the places where you might get pigeonholed into a situation, but also, give guidance that gives you the ability to potentially broaden your offer to more closely align with what the seller needs and wants. So,
yeah, the other thing to note here, thank you, Troy, for that, is you don't want to offer more than the property's worth, and you need to be considerate of what it would appraise for. So as realtors, we really need to do our comps so that we can advise our buyers what to offer and how much we think they could go without going over appraised value. So that's a consideration. I'm seeing a lot of listings and sellers that are saying they know they've got a hot property, so they say, well, we're going to accept offers until X day of the month at 5:00 p.m. and you have to submit your highest and best offer at that point. This would be a good time to probably consider using an escalation clause, but you have to have a good conversation with your buyer, make sure they understand what they're doing, make sure there's a maximum and that doesn't go over what you feel like the home would appraise for, and then let them direct you as to how to write it, because you're basically acting on their behalf. You don't want to be giving them a lot of advice. You just want to give them this as an option. This is a very good option when we're in a kind of market we're in right now.
Okay, and I think it's important. Oh, Cherie, you got a question?
Yeah. So just to confirm that, like when you're putting in the offer, you put the escalation clause in with the offer at the same time, correct?
That's
Is
right.
the best situation.
And you put that in an addendum.
You put it in an addendum. And one of the things is you might not need to do it at the very first part. And I can't find a price point that's not getting multiple offers. I can't find one. I'm being honest with you. Like listings that are worth buying, right? What's on the market right now is just not really that great, right? People are like, I'd rather wait. I just don't want that house, right? And it's sad. Hopefully the sellers don't, like, we're not pointing that out to the sellers. But really, like if homes aren't selling, it's because there's something wrong with the house. It has nothing to do with price or market. Well, I mean, it's always price if it's in absence of anything else. But if there's something wrong with the house, people just don't want it if it's on the market right now. And so keep in mind that the escalation clause might be something you want to consider, especially when you see it and you're like, ooh, this is good. Everybody else is saying the same thing, right? You guys know inventory better than anybody else in the market, right? The people that are buying homes, they think they know the market. They're looking homes right now, but they haven't been looking at homes for years and years like most of my agents, right? They haven't been understanding what the market's been doing and where we're at now. I just had the biggest Salisbury in Washington Fields get 4 offers on it, no pool, half acre, okay? Biggest Salisbury that they build, and everybody knows, like, oh yeah, that's the one. I know exactly which one you're talking about. And it was at 765, and it went with 4 offers, got all the way to 825. And if you've been in the business, as the ones I'm looking at have been in the business, that's insane.
That is
okay?
insane.
So if we're going to have to write great offers as buyer agents, and also we need to be good advocates for our buyers about where value is and where value is not. Okay, because just because you have the cash and you don't have an appraisal doesn't mean you just put whatever number on it. Okay, we still have a fiduciary duty to the market.
There's
And
one
if I
more
may,
caveat, Robert, that I want to add here, and that is that we have to put in our offer with the escalation clause that the seller has to provide proof of the next highest and best offer.
And it does say that in this escalation.
So we definitely want to make sure we don't leave that out, because we need to see what that is. Otherwise, the seller could cheat the buyer and say, well, I got this offer, but I'm not going to show you what it was.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Troy,
I think-
what were you going to say?
well, I was just going to say, I think this is also, it's not a one-sided conversation, buyer versus seller for today, right? We need to look at this as a seller, right? You have a listing and you get an offer with an escalation clause. You need to really scrub it with a fine-tooth comb and see, what are the details in this escalation clause, and how it's going to potentially impact the seller, right? Like 825 on a home listed at 765. You better be countering before you accept that offer with proof of funds to make up the difference on an appraisal, or
Brilliant. Yes.
or ask for additional earnest money non-refundable after due diligence in 8.3 and those types of things, right? It may look like an amazing offer at 825, but if after a week they go, there's no way it's going to appraise and it doesn't have a pool, and so we're going to cancel. Well, now you just wasted 10 days of your seller's time.
Yep.
So as exciting as they are to present, they're also exciting to receive, but the same scrutiny needs to be applied to the verbiage and the content of that offer, just from a different viewpoint.
I'm so excited you said that, because you go through these, like if you've been in this moment, you've had a listing that's gone through this, like being able to be like, okay, hold on, is that really the best offer? Just because the price on that says that, like you almost have to hesitate yourself, because you don't want the seller to think, oh, he's just trying not to make me the most money. You want them to know, like, hey, I'm just doing what's in the best situation for you, right? Do we have a proof of funds? Do we have a pre-approval? Do we really feel like this buyer is going to go all the way to the end at this price, or are they going to knock us over the head on repairs and things later on after they've drug us down the road a little bit? Okay. One other thing, I'm going to talk two more things. And Troy, when you pop off, man, you got to hop off. I get it. Okay. The two other things, the WCBR Parade of Homes email. Did anybody see that? The 2021 Parade of Homes. Did anybody read the whole thing? Okay. It is insane that we cannot use Parade of Homes in any marketing. Okay. You are not allowed to say Parade of Homes. You can't even say it out of your mouth. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Okay. I'm not happy about it. I'm actually pretty pissed about it, because these builders are building homes to sell to people and making money, right? The Parade of Homes is a luxury thing that we get to, it's an event we get to share as agents and the community. And for whatever reason now, they don't want the agents to participate in that. And I don't love that. That really chaps my ass, to be honest with you. Anybody else agree, or am I on my own on this one?
Yeah,
So-
my concern about that is they want us to bring our buyers and have our clients come, but then how do they expect us to get the word out there?
Exactly. I totally agree. Anybody else want to rant with me on this?
Well,
That's
everybody has
Marlene
something
and
to say.
Karen?
Sorry.
Yes.
It is the only event that the home builders use each year to raise money for the Home Builders Association. So it is their event. They get to dictate the terms and the price of the tickets and everything like that. And every single year we get agents that will buy a bunch of tickets and then try to resell them at a higher price. So we get in trouble for that. You can't resell the tickets. You can only give them away. We don't pay a dime into this parade. However, we do benefit greatly from it. So I can see on their behalf why they're doing it this way. That's my
I
rant.
love that you took that other side, man. I appreciate you doing that.
It's always
Mine
another
is
side.
more of a question than a rant. Mine's a question. So if I wanted to buy parade tickets for some of my past clients, how do I'm not necessarily marketing and I'm not trying to get, I'm literally just gifting. So that's okay?
You can do that. Yes.
You can't use it in marketing though, Dave. That email says that you can't even say it.
No, I didn't say that. But if you want to buy tickets and give to your sellers or buyers, you can do so.
I'm going to call it the March of Mansions. That's what I'm telling my database. We're going to have the March of Mansions in Washington County this year, and it's going to be fun. I know the website's different, and you're going to have to find your own website, but I got tickets for the March of Mansions, and you just let me know, and I'll get you exclusive tickets to the March of Mansions.
Well, I think once you buy the tickets and you get the booklet, then you can start talking about the Parade of Homes, and all the buyers can see the Parade of Homes. They got the booklet.
I know. So I read this as in I cannot send an email. I cannot market. I cannot I can't
That's
do
right.
anything.
Post on Instagram. A
Post on
contact.
Instagram.
Until the first day of the parade.
Okay, until the first day of the parade. So then we got
Right.
2 weeks that we can market it. Okay, that fair enough. It doesn't make any quite much sense. You're like, oh, sorry, I can't get you tickets till it's half over, but that's okay. I understand. It's so stupid. Okay, Troy's like, I don't even care. You guys freaking stupid parade homes. Nobody's going to that.
They don't
Okay,
do this up in
but the only
I actually would pipe in real quick and maybe side a little bit with Dave on, I didn't read the email because I'm not part of the Washington board, but
this is why I can't be a broker, guys. I can't be a broker because of this reason right here.
the builders do pay quite a bit of money to participate in the parade. Obviously they get discounts. It is in their benefit as well. My guess is they're just trying to protect the branding that's been created through that parade of homes. Maybe they went a little far one side, sounds like, but I don't know.
Yeah, I do
but
I do
It's their
understand.
party, and
It
they're
is their party.
inviting us, but whether it's going to be at their rules.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's their party. I don't like being excluded out of parties. Okay. I didn't get invited to parties when I was a kid. Okay. So now I'm not putting up with it anymore. Okay. The last thing I wanted to talk about is what happened in 05 that a lot of people don't talk about. But Bill Hobson reminded me of it because I had a conversation with a seller when I first got into the business about what happened. So what happened is the market starts appreciating at a value that is so quick that buyers will tie up for sale by owner homes for long periods of time at a price that's lower so that when they close, they can immediately turn around and sell it and make money off of the appreciated value of what's happening in the market. So it's against the law, but it does not mean that for sale by owners aren't going to get suckered into doing this by non-agents. Okay. Because you're like, well, I'm not an agent and I just told this person I need 6 months and I'm not quite sure how you get caught for that if it's not an agent, right? If there's no agency, if there's no organization to regulate this thing happening. So first of all, don't do it. Don't let your buyers do it. Don't get sucked into being like, why does my buyer keep extending this 30 days or 40 days or 50 days? And all of a sudden they've been in 6 months and all of a sudden they close, right? So to pull away from that, be aware of that. But I think it's a great conversation to have for sale by owners in why you need fiduciary duty and why you need a real estate agent.
Yep.
Anybody want to comment on that?
Well, you're assuming that this market is going to go on forever, and or rather that it will stop. But I don't know what's going on in St. George, but I know that here it's just going to go on and on and on. There's no end to this. It's not like in 6 months this is all going to go back to normal. It isn't.
Exactly. But they play this roulette game. They play this roulette game of, okay, if I tie it up for 6 months, I can make, if 6 months we appreciate 10%, I can make 10% for free, right? They're like, well, I was going to buy this house and maybe live in it, but now it's going up so fast. I buy it now at this great price. I can make more money by extending it out 6 months. I'm not saying I'm seeing it yet. I'm just saying that this happened in the past. It is a market that could happen again. So be aware of it, have the conversations about it, just keep on the lookout for it. But I didn't know until somebody told me, right? Because I haven't been in the real estate business for 10 years, but how many of them are left, right? How many agents are left that's been in this 10 years? Luckily for us, most of them are KW. So I get to ask them those questions and they get to tell me about what's happening. So Troy, do you want to comment on this? Do you recall this happening before?
Yeah, for sure. And in a way, it happens in a little bit different way through the wholesale market. Wholesaling homes, right, is a lot of for sale by owners or off market properties are tied up by somebody who then flips the contract. And in a way, it's a little bit, I don't want to say exactly the same, but it's similar. And so, yeah, I mean, be real cautious about that. Be cognizant that that's out there and potentially happening.
Yeah.
The one thing you can think
Rusty,
about
you're muted,
is
buddy.
if you get under contract with somebody like that keeps wanting to extend the contract, obviously, unless they're putting non-refundable earnest money up, why would the seller even want to extend out very far?
Exactly.
So if you're doing your job as their seller's agent, you're going to make sure that you have that conversation with them. And if somebody wants to extend out 30 to 60 days, you're going to collect money from that buyer and it's going to be non-refundable.
I'm going to preface this as it comes across as a scare tactic, right? For me to go to a for sale by owner and say that this is something that happens. I don't want that to get misconstrued with like, hey, I'm trying to be a sales agent, be like, this happens all the time and you really should listen to the real estate agent. I don't want you to take it that way. What I think is valuable is to, when you're talking to a for sale by owner and you're trying to show value, is we use concrete examples of how the consumer can get fooled by agents, but also by investors and people that are not realtors that do this on a day-to-day basis, right? And I think this is a great example of that shows a little fear, that has a little pain to it, but also we can talk about our value for managing multiple offers and not leaving money on the table just because we got 4 offers. You know, having an agent be able to get you 10 could be something different. You know what I mean?
The other thing to think about when you have these multiple offers, when you decide, the seller decides to accept one, instead of rejecting all the others, you can go back to those other offers and say, would you like to become a backup offer?
Right.
And
Right.
the seller can accept as many backup offers as he wants. So
yep.
It doesn't happen all the time because the buyers usually move on, but it's worthy of asking the question.
Absolutely. Okay, this was our mandatory training. Okay, I need everybody to understand the escalation clause. You know where it is. I could copy and paste it and send a text message to each one of you, or I can trust that you guys are going to go to broker support and get the escalation clause and use it correctly. Okay, if you're making me send it to you, I'll send it to you. But if you guys could go find it, look at the resource, use the resource on a regular basis. Let me know if we need to continue to get you more information about Troy's contact information. Sean Janke, Dave Weeks is still our principal broker. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'm gonna let everybody
I got
go.
one thing to add.
Yes, go for it.
So at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, under the bottom of the escalation clause, you see the help button? You click on the help button, you can ask a question to a broker. If they're online, they'll answer quickly. If not, they'll get an email. So you can write in your question and they should respond to you quickly.
So the help button right there on the right, okay? Now, if
That's
it's
a live
not,
button if you're on the site.
okay, and sometimes there's a delay with that, right? It depends on if
There is
or
if there's not a broker monitoring, but they will get an email. They'll get a notice.
We're gonna get
I
an
will
email.
add to that, if it's a Friday afternoon before a weekend and you use broker support to email out, it's possible that won't get picked up to the next business day. So if you have something urgent, you're always welcome to still call or text a broker directly. So broker support's designed as some leverage, a convenient source for you to find good information that's already in there. But if it doesn't exist and you're under a time crunch, don't wait to reach out to us directly, because again, we have kind of regular business cadence lives as well, and so sometimes we might not check back in on that particular service till the following business day. So yeah, just if you don't get a quick reply and it's still urgent for you, make sure you text or call one of us directly, and we'll do everything we can to answer right away.
Thanks, Troy.
You're
welcome.
It's so fun, man. You look like you're having so much. I'm so jealous right now.
One quick, I just wanted to answer Marlene's question about loading this into command or not loop. Since it's not really a specific addendum, a standalone addendum, it's almost best to add this verbiage to addendum that may have other terms. So right now we don't have it added as a specific form. I guess it could be something we'd add in the future. Right now though, you would just, my suggestion would be just copy and paste the text from this into an addendum that's inside a command, and that add any other language that you might need for your property, right? Like include the gas barbecue grill or whatever you might have out there. So.
Yeah, one of the things we can work on too is potentially getting with the UAR and having like a specific addendum, like a subject to sell addendum or something like that the UAR approves. As of now, this is definitely something that we're going to want to use. This is an approved version of what we're supposed to say. I think we've worked on it in the past as brokers, but we'll do that separately. Everybody doesn't have to be involved in that. So for now, use it this way. We'll see what we can do about getting an official form, because this might last for a while longer. And I think they probably should have one because this is pretty specific. So Helen Dean did a shameless plug. That's not really shameless because I love that you did it. She's in Vegas. She's also in Mesquite. She's also in St. George. If you're looking for a referral partner in Vegas and looking for somebody to pass deals back and forth, unfortunately, she's with Realty One Goldmark in Vegas, but that's okay. She's a KW here because we love her. But if you're looking for a partner or potentially looking for what you need in Mesquite and things like that, Helen's a great resource for you. Okay, guys?
Thanks. But honestly, Mesquite, it's actually nicer than it looks.
And coming from England and all over the world, that is saying something. I don't think she'd say that if she didn't actually believe that.
But actually, it's quite nice. So
that's funny. Okay, guys, get on with the rest of your day. That was pretty close. 30 minutes. We did pretty good, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Oh, Robert?
Yes, sir.
After everybody drops off, Sharon wanted to ask you a question quick.
Ruh-roh.
Hang on.
Everybody's still on. Y'all got to get off. Sean is like, no, I'm going to listen. I want to see Sharon.
There, Steve, you have to get in the picture.
Am I?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you are. There you
Hey,
are.
I was just gonna ask you, hi,
Yes.
guys. If I could get you tickets, I don't know if the Southern Utah Home Builders Association is having a dinner,
Mhm.
a banquet this year. I'm not sure because with COVID,
Yeah. they may-
but if I could make a few calls and get you a ticket to go, would you go?
100%, yes.
Okay, because then I think you could kind of see the other side of that.
Yeah.
I get both sides. They have a foundation, it's very expensive.
Mhm.
Realtors in the past have kind of done it to, a few did it to everybody.
Yeah.
They've had some abuse from the
Abuse.
agency. We have.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
And
years
that's-
and years and years, but it's such a good organization. And it is a